Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Dawson County Board of Commissioners voting session today is Thursday, October 6, 2022. Welcome to those that are in attendance with us, as well as those that are with us online. We'll start out with a roll call. And as you can see, we're all here. Ask everyone to please stand for brief invocation and pledge. You would bow your heads, please. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this another day and for the many blessings of life. We ask for knowledge and wisdom to carry out the business of this great county. Anything we accomplish will give you the honor and glory in Christ's name. We do ask and pray. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Are there any announcements? Any announcements? We'll move on up to the approval of minutes. First, we have the minutes of the work session held on September 15, 2022. Are there any additions or deletions? Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Dooley.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that approved 4-0. Next up, we have the minutes of the voting session held on September 15, 2022. Any additions or deletions?
No.
Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett. Second by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. Next, we have the approval of the agenda. I do have 4 changes to the agenda, all under new business. Number 3 will be RFP 40122, all-inclusive healthcare services that we presented by the Sheriff's Office tonight. Number 4, IFB 40222, Thompson Creek Park Road realignment. Number 5, RFP 40922, design bill for 3 fields for park and recreation. Number 6, amendment on an intergovernmental agreement between the city of Dawsonville and Dawson County concerning trail infrastructure for pedestrian access between Main Street Park and Library. And then number 7, authorize the chairman to sign the letter to send to GDOT in reference to request of the $500,000 LME. And with those changes, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve with the changes presented.
Motion by Commissioner Dooley.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And the agenda is approved 4-0 with those 4 changes. No one signed up for public comment in this section?
No, sir.
All right, we'll move on to zone. We have ZA 2219. Jim King requests to rezone tax map parcel 107053 and 107272 from RA residential agriculture to RMF residential multifamily for the purpose of developing 152 multifamily dwellings. This is on Lee Castleberry Road, and there was a variance 2214. Jim King requests to vary from Dawson County Land Use Resolution Article 3, Section 308.C.6.B, vary from the width of driveways in RMF. And this was heard at our last meeting on September the 15th, at which time we did have a public hearing at that. And it was tabled for more information for the board. So there will not be a hearing because we've already had that hearing. And so discussion is with you, the board.
I guess I'll start out. So after the last meeting, I had some concerns about some impact that we are experiencing on Lumpkin Campground and what the impact this would do to that. Working with staff and the applicant, there's, I think everybody has an updated zoning conditions that came out this afternoon. There was a few things. I don't have my highlighted version. Couple things that changed for the better, I believe, is the we'll just start out number 1. It's based on development shall be developed in general accordance with the conceptual master plan that we already have, so it should follow that. That's a little bit tightening of what we saw the last time. The next one that I was concerned about, number 4, as Tim had pointed out, the interconnectivity of the walking trails is important to this board at this point. And so along Lee Castleberry, make that an 8-foot wide instead of a 5-foot wide sidewalk. I'd like to see us do that. And then I think they'd already agreed last time to go all the way down to 400, as long as we get the right of way worked out, what right of way we have. Donate an additional 20 feet of right of way along Lee Castleberry. We talked about that to make sure that that road is much improved and that is much needed. All grassed areas on dwelling lots and amenity areas will be sodded. We did not have amenity areas on there last time. The other piece was, a second, I'll get to it. Really number 16, that's kind of the biggie. And one of the areas that I was concerned with is developer, in addition to the other commitments that they've already made for the improvements on Lee Castleberry, the developer in addition will include $150,000 to Lumpkin Campground improvements. We got with staff, and staff's already worked through and looking at engineering for plans for those pieces that are, again, much needed. So the developer would be required or would be willing to contribute $150,000 towards those improvements, and setting it up kind of like we've done in the past at 50% of the certificates. So once they got to 50%, then they would be stopped until they contribute that $150,000. And then finally, no residential building permits shall be issued prior to January 1st, 2022. Gives us some breathing room. 24, sorry, not 22, 24. That it gives us some breathing room in order to ensure that we have adequate structure and service delivery in place. And those are the main changes that I had. I don't know if anybody else have interacted.
I think it would be prudent, as we've done in the past, that we read all 19 of these into zoning conditions into the record. And I can do that if y'all want me to. Development shall be developed in general accordance with the conceptual master plan documents prepared by HGOR dated June 10, 2022 and approved with this rezoning. Developer shall construct a right decel lane and left turn lane on Lee Castleberry Road. Developer shall improve Lee Castleberry Road along the subject's property frontage to the intersection of Georgia 400 to the standards of a non-curb, non-residential collector. Improvements shall include widening to 12-foot lanes with 2-foot shoulders and milling, resurfacing the entire length. Improvements shall be complete prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. Developer shall provide an 8-foot sidewalk along the Lee Castleberry Road and a 5-foot sidewalk along Stacy Lane. Sidewalk shall continue for the entire frontage and extend to the Georgia 400 right-of-way. For offset improvements, Dawson County will provide right-of-way or easements as needed. Developer shall donate an additional 20 feet of right-of-way along Lee Castleberry and Stacy Lane. Right-of-way shall be donated at final plat and shall not count against the overall density. Developer shall plant at least 3 to 4 inch caliper canopy type oak, maple, elm, street trees in each front yard and side yard on corner lots adjacent to the right of way and 40 feet OC along Lee Castleberry Road right of way. All grassed areas on dwelling lots and amenity areas shall be sodded. All utilities shall be placed underground. Development shall have covenants and require maintenance of the landscape, interest area, open space, and amenity areas by a mandatory homeowners association. Home shall have a minimum front setback of 20 and 24 feet minimum distance from the garage door to the sidewalk. Each home in the development shall have not less than a 2-car enclosed garage. Garage doors shall have the appearance of a carriage style doors and be painted a medium dark earth tone color. Developer agrees to use a minimum of 4 different residential building elevations to avoid a cookie cutter look within the community. Elevations shall be similar to the renderings provided and must be approved by the planning director prior to issuance of a building permit. Home shall include a water table along the front and sides of brick or stone. The remaining facade must include a combination of at least 2 of the following: board and batten, shake, or a lap fiber cement siding. There shall be no vinyl or aluminum siding. Home shall be a minimum of 1,600 square feet of heated space. All homes shall have a minimum of 2-car garages and a driveway of sufficient width to provide for at least 2 parked cars side by side with a minimum of 24 feet between garage and sidewalk. Design and name for the pocket park at the intersection of Lee Castleberry and Lumpkin Campground Road shall be mutually agreed upon by the developer and the county planning staff. The pocket park shall be maintained along with the common area by the homeowners association. Developer shall contribute $150,000 to Lumpkin campground improvements. Contributions shall be required at the time when 50% of the certificates of occupancy have been issued for the development. No residential building permits shall be issued prior to January 1st, 2024. Developer shall provide no parking signs along the interior streets throughout the development and shall include enforcement by the HOA in the declaration of covenants. And developer shall provide a garbage can pad for each home within the development. Those are the 19 zoning conditions. Is the applicant present? No, no. You've heard those read into the record. Are you good with all those? Okay. Anybody got any questions for that?
So the number 17 of building permits, where they can get land disturbance and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Infrastructure and all
Yeah, all that done.
Yeah, residential
that. And
building.
then, I can't remember the layout. I don't have that copy here. 2 ways in and out. I've got 2. There it is.
You can see it.
Lee County, yeah. Sorry.
And connectivity, some. Okay.
There's two.
So I know Mercy Services without that, ask that question, y'all go to get permits. So you got that second. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
All right.
What is a pocket park? Pocket park?
It's a designer's name for a small community kind of green space. It's not anyone's own front yard or backyard. It's kind of it's a little bit of extra space, not big enough for a lot, that we just do some plantings and a lawn. And people can.
About as big as a pocket.
About as big as, from me to that wall.
Okay.
And you walk the dog. Little dog.
Yeah, very deal.
Any other questions of the applicant? Thank you. All right, what's the pleasure of the board? Do have a variance associated with that, so if you will take them both at the same time. If you decide to make a motion of some kind.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve ZA 22-19 and VR 2214 with the conditions read into record.
I have a motion by Commissioner Satterfield. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion.
I would like to say that, just in general, the higher density zonings are not very palatable to me, just for the burden that they place on the county and the county's taxpayers, but also respect the right of the property owner to be able to sell their property. And it's hard to balance those two, and I do appreciate the concessions that y'all made to kind of help with offsetting any burden that may be placed on the taxpayer just because of this development.
We'll hear about it.
Other discussion.
We'll hear about it.
Just highlighting outside of this, I mean, part of it is Lee Castleberry being improved, and there's going to be some major improvements on that road that it's been needed for quite some time. So that's that'll be a good thing.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote. And it's approved 4-0. All right, move on to unfinished business. We have consideration request for Assistant District Attorney supplement tabled from the September 15th, 2022 meeting. At that time, the board had asked our county manager to gather some more information in reference to the supplements that are being paid out currently in the district attorney's office. You do have that placed on your desk. I think the request was for somewhere in the neighborhood of 16,000 and something dollars for increase in supplement. In the current budget, there is already 11,732, and then you take the 5% that was added to supplements that you approved last month. It changes that number to $12,318.60. So, and that is in the budget already. So that is the current supplement that the person in that position will receive. That's a state employee, so they also get paid by the state, and that supplement is paid by the Dawson County taxpayer. And you see on there that if you went with the 16,000, it would be the highest supplement in the office. So
It'd actually be more than an employee's been working here since 13. And well, in six.
and it would be higher than the person that's in charge.
Yep.
All right. So what is the pleasure of the board?
Well, I make a motion that we deny that request of the 16,000, and I know there was more money than that, and go with these figures here, which he will have a supplement of $12,318.60.
Okay.
And also he's gonna be driving fewer miles, so that's my motion, is to deny that request and go with this.
In the request, it would have went from the 11 something up to 16, but you're saying you want to leave it with the
11,000.
included 5% increase. of
Yes,
12,000. Okay.
which would make $12,318.60.
So be denying the request of the additional money, adding up
Yes.
to 16,000.
Right.
Okay, so we have a motion for denial. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett, seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And the additional funds are denied. All right, we'll move on to new business. First up, we have consideration request for raffle fundraiser to benefit emergency services. That was presented a couple of weeks ago. And this had to do with the Woodman of the World. Modern Woodman of the World. And this would be
Is it really? It is.
with
The modern ones are younger.
We've all been. All right. Is any other information needed? Motions.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Satterfield, seconded by Commissioner Dooley. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. Next, we have consideration request to use special purpose local option sales tax 6 funds to upgrade the fields at Rock Creek Park. Matt brought that to us a couple of weeks ago, where they would use those funds to level out the fields and stuff, so that we wouldn't have the humps and stuff that people would fall over or get hit by a ball.
Removing the grass.
Yeah, removing that grass as well. Any other information needed? Motions.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Gaines,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. Move on to number 3, RFP 401-22, all-inclusive healthcare services. That was presented to you earlier. This would change the healthcare services at the jail from half day to full day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It had a maximum dollar amount associated with that of $894,000
$94,000 and some few dollars.
and some few dollars.
Yeah.
Any other information needed? Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
second by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. Move on number 4, IFP 402-22, Thompson Creek Park Road realignment. As was presented tonight by Jeff and David. We had a design in the $564,000 range to do the realignment. The state was supposed to do, GDOT was supposed to do the roundabout portion. Obviously, that has been changed. And now they've asked us to be in charge of all of it. I think it's a recommendation from David and Jeff that we deny all the bids that we received here and rebid this whole project. Right. So any other information needed? Motions.
Make a motion that we deny the bids we've received and allow staff to proceed forward with rebidding both projects concurrently.
Motion by Commissioner Gaines,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that denial is approved 4-0. So proceed with rebid. All right, next up, number 5, RFP 409-22 design bill for 3 fields and for park and recreation. That was 2 tasks, not to exceed $2,500,000 for both tasks. They both had contingency, one with $260,000 and the other with $100,000 worth of contingency, which is part of that $2.5 million. Any other information needed? Motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Satterfield. Second by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none.
I want to just
Yep.
thank Matt and his staff and county manager and Melissa. You built a good program down there, and this is going to help some kids that need that program. And at school too, they deserve the same opportunities as everybody else.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote. That's approved 4-0. We'll move on to number 6, amendment to the intergovernmental agreement between the city of Dawsonville and Dawson County concerning trail infrastructure, pedestrian access between Main Street Park and the library, going from a actual bridge to a earthened crossover.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just note one thing I looked at when we had a few minutes based upon Commissioner Satterfield's concerns. In the underlying agreement, which still remains in place, the amendment that we're passing tonight is essentially just changing section 1A. But in section 1D, it provides that the trails shall be constructed and maintained so as to comply with any applicable provisions of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the Rehabilitation Act, or any other law which would apply to projects of this nature, which are designed to facilitate access and public accommodations. So we do have that contractual obligation there. I did confirm that the construction, design, maintenance, signage, upkeep, and any other costs associated with the trail is the obligation of the city. So we don't have an obligation or a right to strictly to inspect, but there is that contractual obligation to comply with anything that's applicable. So I just wanted to point that out. And so I think that would help us. Then we can deal with it informally as needed.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other information needed? Motion.
Make a motion we approve.
Motion by Commissioner Gaines,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Dooley. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that amendment is approved 4-0. And lastly, number 7, County Manager Headley had requested that the board authorize me to sign a letter to GDOT asking them for LMIG funding in the amount of $500,000. Any other information needed? Motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett. Seconded by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. We do have need for executive session to discuss personnel. Do I have a motion to go in executive session?
Mr. Chairman, I believe we may have a public comment.
Oh, we do?
If
Okay.
Alicia Moses is present. Yes, ma'am.
All right, okay, all right. Come on up. Come on up.
Sir, if you'll please turn on the microphone as well. Should be an on. Yes, sir.
There you go.
My name is Greg Ochtalik, and my concern is I'm a private owner in Paradise Valley Resort. I live in a 90-lot subdivision, which is totally separate from the Paradise Valley area. and I'm surrounded by Paradise Valley. My concern is that when I built a house, I had to submit plans, permits, and everything else that went with it, and I did that, and I got approved. And I live in a house now. There's, probably 30 or 40 little homes, which are small homes, that are being built behind it, and 3 or 4 large buildings, which have been stopped because of the building on it. But my concern is they only have a 9-foot road to have access to 3 different bars that are there, which holds some 1,500 people if you were to fill them all up. And I'm worried about the safety of the people that live there because of that problem. And I think it should be addressed at some point in time.
And that's the road.
That's the back road that goes down to what they're calling a level 3. And there's a wine bar that they haven't been able to finish, a hotel they haven't been able to finish, which will also include I guess a swimming pool and another bar, and some 20 or 30 cottages going up the hill. And then going up the hill is a 14% grade. And you can't do that. And they've never submitted plans for the road or any of the buildings. And it should be, and they're still building these buildings. And
This
it's
is within Paradise Valley.
within Paradise
Within.
Valley. And I'm a private resident in a separate section. Right, unfortunately, it's in the center. When I bought in, my subdivision was a family-oriented place. Now it's turned into a swingers club, which I can't do anything about, but I'm stuck there because I'm old and that's my house and that's all I have.
Have there been any accidents on that road? Or near accidents? I mean, boy, they bars and all that kind of stuff.
Right, well, the one that's there now is sitting at about 9% grade, which they call Suicide Hill. They have had a golf cart come down the hill, the brakes failed, ran into a power pole, but nobody was hurt, or into a green box. The other side is much steeper at 14% grade. And people live on that, going all the way up that hill. So all it takes is one golf cart that brakes aren't designed for on that kind of a hill, or just a car to get away. It's going to run into the wine bar, which is sitting on stilts. It's about 4 foot up, which is enough for a golf cart to go under it. It would kill somebody if that ever happens. So it needs to be addressed.
Mr. Chairman, can make sure you write down your number and name on a piece of paper there.
Okay, it's not here.
Oh, it's not one there?
No, but
You got it.
We'll have to ask the county manager to
Okay.
look into with the building department and the fire department. I mean,
All right,
being
the fire
private, it's a
department-
private road. It's a private road, but I mean, I don't know what the standards are.
9 foot wide is all it is,
Yeah.
even in front of my house. And
Well, we'll let them look into it.
Okay.
Somebody get back with you.
the fire department is aware. They've stopped him from building, Jeff from
Yes, sir.
building the.
Yeah, and I'll be more than happy to get with you, sir. Just so the
Okay.
board knows that, you know, we are in some ongoing, as you know, some litigation with Paradise Valley. There has been some inspections and
Mhm.
we are looking at the roads and the buildings and the setbacks and all that. So like to possibly meet with you and then, you know, address it.
Okay, I also have a dispute with Jeff.
Pardon me?
I also have a dispute with Jeff Lyon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alicia Moses, and thank you, commissioners, and Mr. Chairman, for allowing this opportunity. I am actually one of the homeowners as well that lives within the 90 lots. We own the lot. I pay taxes on it, and although it's just a small lot, it's still my sole home. And I was under the impression that I was held to a certain standard to build any kind of shower or anything. I had to go permitting and everything. Fortunately, the love of my life passed away. So he had been coming down to Dawson County and asking for permits. Unfortunately, at the time there was litigation, so they kind of just shoot him away. But since then, I've been back, and the back of my property I'm adjacent and I'm at a downhill slope. And Mr. Octalek addressed a street. There was lots of land clearance, and I've been very diligent in looking at all of the ordinances and the codes and regulations. And I've driven around Dawson County, and I see that just about every developer has taken extreme measures where there's not even anything there. So they've taken measures so the debris and the dirt and water doesn't come down, the water slide, the erosion, although my property is directly adjacent to, it surrounds 100 acres, and I'm directly there and he didn't take any measures whatsoever as of April of last year. And we videotaped it. The love of my life did, actually. And so I have it on his iPhone. So I went through process just to get the iCloud, just to have that evidence. And I tried diligently to speak to Mr. Wasserman. I understood he was the owner. He used to be the manager. I wasn't sure, but there was nothing posted. I went to planning and zoning. They said there was no permits. There was no plan submitted. So therefore there's nothing they could do. And I'm understanding that the more we develop, the more money comes into Dawson County, and I'm all for, development and growing and all that. And I'm loving the fact that you guys approve some of this for the children and all that. I mean, I donate to Rick Rag. I also donate to the Humane Society. But I came here on behalf of some of the other homeowners that are also upset, but they do not want to come forward because they're worried about any kind of retaliation or any kind of harassment, which I have been subjected to, even labeled that I'm mentally not fit. And I don't do any drugs at all. I'm not going to make this about me, but my point is that if you guys could please, the commissioners and the chairman, before any new ordinance is issued or Mr. Wasserman comes in, and I do understand he has a multitude of groups of people that come in, but I want it to be noted that these individuals are actually not taxpayers, and they don't own property, the majority of them. They're mostly all from different areas. They all come in, and it's an onslaught of different groups, as Mr. Octalek addressed. And out of respect to everyone here, I'm not going to go into detail about that, but basically it's a group of individual, and they all congregate there. And I sat during the testimony, and he testified repeatedly that it was residential. And as of June, no, not June, I'm sorry, 2 months ago, I walked into the planning and zoning and asked again, because now there's more obtrusiveness. My water line's broken. I've got my retaining walls buckling, and there's now a big, huge fence with all these rusted nails and all kinds of stuff. So I can't have my grandchildren play in my yard. But I'm one person, and I can't go up against a big resort owner. But I'm asking that, one of the things I read on your website is that it says to enact one of the part of the duties of the commissioners, it says to enact resolutions and ordinance for the general health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Dawson County. And I am a taxpayer, and I moved here because I wanted to be away from the city. I like the beauty of all this, and whether it's growing or not, the small person should not be affected by a bigger developer because they can overpower us. I've tried diligently for 2 years. So I'm here asking you if you could please use whatever positions you have or whatever's at your disposal to please consider that there is the small homeowners. And I commend you all for everything you do, but thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kristen, was anyone else? Okay. All right, so we do have need for executive session, discuss personnel. We have a motion to go in executive session. Motion by Commissioner Fawcett, seconded by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0. We'll take about 5 minutes. We'll meet in the back in executive session. Thank you for your attendance. With that, we will be adjourned.